My name is Deni and I've run countless Tinder accounts, getting thousands of likes every single time. So in this video, I'll be showing you what I've learned from those accounts and how I helped guys you wouldn't even believe is possible to help. And I've done that consistently from people back to back, getting them thousands of likes every single time. Here's what we'll be covering. I'll be showing you how you can analyze a girl on Tinder. Then I'll be showing you how you can message her after the analysis. Then I'll show you how to close her based on what kind of category she fits into. And I'll show you how to do live texting because nothing beats doing it live in real time. So that brings us to our first topic, analyzing girls on Tinder. Every girl fits into 5 different categories. I have 3 girls for you over here at the top, and I'll break them down for you really quickly. This girl, I would label her as a slut. This girl over here, I would base her as a lover girl. And then this girl over here is universal. Every girl is different. And some girls can even overlap and have multiple traits, such as being a slut and being weird. And if you're in that situation, you just have to pick out the category that suits her best. Now, let me give you an example of every single type of girl and what they would look like. Starting off with number 1, a universal girl. A girl that is nothing special. She's very boring. She wears basic generic clothes. She doesn't have anything about her that really stands out and has any specific hobbies. Basically, an NPC with boring hobbies that is just got nothing special about her, apart from the fact that she just has a pussy. That's it. The only thing you can really comment on this girl really from her profile, what I'm seeing so far, is literally her nails. That's it. Now for girl number 2, niche. These are the type of girls that are into these small little things, little hobbies that make them unique or make them stand out. This girl, as you can see, is drastically different every single picture. She's a gamer girl, clearly, as you can see over here. So she plays video games. She watches anime. She's into the gym. She has some weird alt cosplay girl thing going on. There's a lot of things you can comment on with this girl. You can mention how her looks are different. You can mention different personalities to her. You can take different approaches, maybe a gym line. You could do an anime line. I'll be breaking that down later on for you. Then we have girl number 3. The girls with a little bit of a weird personality. These girls are kind of like crazy. They kind of maybe follow something like a goth look, alt, lots of tattoos. Interesting bracelets, you know, they have like lots of weird little quirky things about them. They look strange, they do weird makeup, you know, they're just not normal. They just dress in a very odd fashion. They have dyed hair, they just look like they're a disappointment to their father, right? Now this just pretty much means that they have a very crazy personality, and that means you can say some retarded autistic shit to her and get away with it because she's probably the same. Then we have number 4. Lover girl. Sounds great on paper. Everyone fucking wants a girl like this, right? Wrong. These girls have a big fucking ego. They want to have a guy that takes them to Dubai, nice hotel trips, all this mumbo jumbo garbage. You're just going to sell her a nice little fantasy dream, guys, and you're going to make her believe that you're going to be a happy married couple that's going to get married in the Bahamas, right? After you her and use her, you just leave her and you never actually live up to any of the promises. Everyone wants to love a girl. It seems like the greatest thing in the world. I promise you, it's a waste of money and a waste of time. Just her and leave her. Now, if you obviously can commit to those sort of promises, feel free. Profile number 5, we have a slut. This girl is simple and straightforward. A slut. That's it. You don't even need me to explain this one, but I will anyways. She's wearing half-naked clothing. She has nothing on practically. She's putting herself in derogatory sexual positions. She's in a rave environment. This girl is pretty much got a belly button piercings. Her fucking tits are out in every shot, skin everywhere. She's wearing, you know, crazy costumes, fishnets, and her eyelashes are crazy. She just looks like the type of girl that pretty much is looking for attention, right? Validation. So that is a straight through and through. That is the 5 common categories you'll come across when it comes to girls. Unfortunately, sometimes you can come across more unique and diverse categories, but that would make this video infinitely long. Now, if you want a more in-depth copy of what I'm explaining, I have a publicly listed full guide on what I'm saying in this video on our website for free with no sign-up garbage or no click and drop email garbage. You literally could just view it. That's it. It's just on the website. Now, the next thing that comes in is number 2, the openers, right? So after you categorize the girls, the next step is finding an opener. Let me show you some nice examples from this chart over here. So if you open her with her name, this would fit into the universal category. So with the universal name opener, you can use it with every single girl and it'll work regardless. It doesn't matter who you use it on, it will work pretty much for any girl. It's as simple as that. Now, the next one, do you know what's supposed to be your pictures? Again, universal. Then I have a complete about your profile, universal. Same thing again. Do you see how it just broadly applies to anything? Then we have, do you know what you remind me of? Girls with a bit of personality. This is a little bit of a weird one because you're going to obviously close a line with being compared to something like a bottle of alcohol because they're an addiction. You'll see some good examples later on of this in real texting. But yeah, you don't want to say this one to a girl that is obviously a lover girl because She's going to be a snowflake about it. She's going to have a mental breakdown and she's going to cry. Now, over here on the next one, are you thinking what I'm thinking? This is some lover girl slash stuff because you can pretty much go into, let's say, whipped cream, something sexual, something about, fantasy, couple life. There's a few things you can play on. Number 6, I have a great idea. Universal applies to any girl. Seems like I found my gym wifey. Niche. Remember the gym girl I showed you that was in anime? I would use that on her. Thought the angel was meant to be on top of the Christmas tree. Universal, classic seasonal one. You know you have one of my weaknesses. This is a niche one. This is going to be something about her eyes, something about her little hobby. You're my third wife. Universal. Applies to any and every single girl. What's my wifey doing on Tinder? Universal. Missed our wedding? Universal. There's an error in your profile? Again, universal. Continue on with the rest of the lines. We have another one. You should smile more in your pictures. Niche. You look like my celebrity crush. Niche. Now a little bit of a disclaimer with this one. If you don't have a celebrity lookalike for the girl, don't say it. It's not ideal. Maybe you can ask ChatGPT for a little bit of help. Sometimes that works. You look like you can max out the hip thrust machine. This is a niche one. I would probably use that again on the anime gym niche girl. If we went to an art gallery, this one's universal. Oh, you're a cardiologist because you look like you fix broken hearts. Again, universal. So let me show you some real examples of what I would use for each and every single girl. So we have the gym girl here from above. Now this is what I'd say to her. Looks like I found my gym wifey, or you could use any universal opener. Now, thirdly, she looks like an anime girl, right? She looks like the kind of girl that watches like Dragon Ball, Naruto, Attack on Titan, all of this stuff, right? Just mumbo jumbo. What we could say to her is, I had a great idea throughout the conversation, and then say anime and cuddling, right? Or anime and chill. That's the type of things this goes into because she's into cosplay. So we're going to play on that and capitalize on that. And we're going to use the hobby that she's into to build rapport. Next one, weirdos, okay? So this girl is a bit of a tomboy. She's a bit of an emo. What we're going to say to her is, you know what it reminded me of? Then we can say something like a bottle of alcohol, you're my addiction, yada, yada, yada. Then you could also use any universal opener if you don't have anything you can think of in the moment. This girl also has a lot of tattoos and bracelets. We can put on this by saying, I need a tattoo tour. We need to get matching couple bracelets. She might have a weird little rock collection. You could take a lot from a girl's profile in the background. I mean, she wears weird shoes. Clearly, she's in a university accommodation. She has some, looks like gothic poster in the background. If you know what that is, you can easily play on that. I'm not too bothered, to be honest with you, with what she's into. But if you actually spend the time and obviously think of things, you can really come up with some clear lines. Next one. Lover girl. This is some type of girl that is very elegant, high maintenance. Like I said, a little bit of a fucking egotistical bitch. So with this girl, I'd say something like, you thinking what I'm thinking? Then I'll just go into a nice little fantasy, sell her the, Dubai dreams, the whole lifestyle that she's craving and dreaming of. It's just basically lies. You just have to lie to these girls and set their expectations really high because they're so gullible and easy to fool, right? You could just tell them whatever they want to hear and they'll think they're finally going to get it. And when they can, think that, they're going to sleep with you. Then you don't have to give them anything. Now, some of you are wondering, why can't we just use any openers with girls? Well, you could use any of the openers, right? You could maybe use a universal one for every single girl. However, picking the correct one will increase your success rate massively. Think of it this way. Using the opener that is the least optimal is like trying to use a fork to have your soup. It's possible, but it's difficult. Why would you want to do that? Another thing as well, because texting is evolving, girls are becoming more difficult on the apps. Yes, you've seen my live texting episodes. It is much harder now. You need to actually think outside of the box. You can't just copy paste the same line to every single girl now. You actually have to look at their profile and put a little bit of thought behind it. Whereas before, you all know the classic, I would copy and paste the you know what's missing in your pictures line to every single girl. And it worked every single time. But now, girls are literally saying, I've heard this line before. So that is exactly why we have decided to go into something more specific, something more in-depth. Now, this is what brings us to the third thing, the right time for closing her. Once you've analyzed a girl, and you've opened her with a solid conversation, right? You've had something going. This is where we're going to take it one step further and we're going to apply everything you've learned so far to close her. Now, closing goes one of two ways. Either you close too fast and she gets freaked out and she just ghosts you, or you take too long and she loses interest and she ghosts you again, or she loses respect for you, which is even worse because then she'll walk all over you. She might plan a date and she might not show up. This is why I'm going to help you how to nail that sweet spot that leads to her pretty much getting closed successfully. And this means that you could identify where you are in the stage of conversation, determine where you stand with a girl, and then decide what you want to do. So, starting at the top of the list, we have end of the conversation. This is when a girl's really, really flirty, very warm and bubbly, open, and she wants to meet. She's actually speaking about it herself in the apps. She wants it to happen. This is what I like to call the green zone. This is where you can pretty much go for a close with no issues. It's very safe. Then we have the middle of the conversation. You flirted with the girl a decent bit. She is warming up to you and getting more open, but you haven't, got that leverage to close the conversation yet. All you can do is just hint at meeting, moving things forward, because it's still too risky to make a move. beginning of the conversation. This is probably where there is zero chemistry, no rapport, and she has no reason to meet you at all. You're basically complete strangers. Asking her a number at this point in time, no matter what you look like, whether you're Chad, handsome, whatever the you want to say, right? She will not make it happen because she doesn't know anything about you. Now, from this chart, it looks pretty fucking easy, right? It looks very simple. Well, in theory, yes, because I made it simple and dumb to digest. It's literally dumbed down so that I can teach you guys, to the best of my abilities. But in real conversations, there are so many variables and different types of situations that you'll encounter where you have to read in between the lines. And the issue with that is some conversations can be at the end stage. Some could be in the middle. And I know it sounds confusing. You're wondering, how could it be at the end stage at the start? Well, I'm going to show you some examples and you'll see what I mean. Now, this is unfortunately why girls ghost you, because you make mistakes you didn't even realize that you were making. So to help you not make those mistakes, I'm going to show you 4 very different types of conversations before we progress into live texting. Starting off with example number 1. We have this girl over here. She looks kind of universal from what I'm seeing so far. This conversation was from a while ago. So with this girl, she actually opened the guy up herself and she said, I'm going to save you from ordering the wrong thing on every menu ever. You're welcome. When can I start this public service? This conversation is already high interest. Now, the reason why she messaged first is because we had a nice little bio where he put Madrid for the week. Now, this means that he's focused on tourism, exotic appeal, and this pretty much adds context to why the conversation worked so well already. It shows the girl's into him, she's pushing for the date, eager, and this is pretty much where it gets confusing, right? The conversation is already at the end stage. The girl already wants to move on. We can already close her. And that's exactly what we do. We don't hesitate or waste time. We just move in for the date, as you can see over here. We say, hey, how sweet of you. You can start on our date. Then she says, sure, tell me when. This is when things start getting factual. And this is when we start moving quickly as possible. And this gives you the green light to go for a close, where we send the Instagram across that we made for our guy. And boom, she adds the Instagram and it's all sorted. Easy as possible. Moving on to example number 2, we have this girl over here that I labeled at the start of the video as a here is what we said to her. We said to her, I have a complaint about your profile. So this is where we want to probe her and see what type of girl she is, because on her profile, yes, she looks like a slut, but she also fits into other categories. She could be a lover girl. That's why we have to start light, and the opener is something that is going to help us work with that. So this girl says, do inform me, obviously, that's the intrigue part. And then we pretty much close her with a solid line. Now, this is pretty much where the opener comes to an end and she returns the compliment and she starts sending multiple X's, which is a kiss. And this is pretty much puts the conversation towards the end stage already. This is showing high slutty, high interest energy. She wants to move fast and she wants to have sex as soon as possible. Now, this is where we start seeding in the close for the number. As you can see over here, we talk about getting her off the apps before other people get jealous, and she suggests herself to move to the next app. And this is where we get the number, and it is simple and straightforward once again. Now, example number 3. This is a little bit of a more crazy example. This girl is very clearly a lover girl, right? Long-term partner, don't let me, some garbage about her in life. No one cares, right? She's just another girl to sleep with. But she's clearly a lover girl. Her first picture is her drinking with a nice modest picture. Now, this part of the first bit of the conversation is a pretty similar flow, as you can see over here. We've made the same line about complaint about your profile. Honestly, we should have just closed it. Now, we missed that opportunity, unfortunately, and we didn't close soon enough. We made a mistake. Now, this is going to show you how difficult it can get to get that opportunity again, because once you miss it, you fucking miss it. You have to make it again. Now, this is where we try and build a solution where we change topics and talk about a couple fantasy dream, as you can see over here. We say to her, we need to take some pictures of you with my arms around you. Then she starts going into a little bit more of a deeper side, and she starts taking into the idea of a date. She wants to schedule something. This is where we start going further into it, and this is where we start building rapport, as you can see, saying arms around your waist or neck to probe her and see whether she says neck. If she says neck, she's a slut. If she says waist, it confirms that she's only a lover girl. She says waist, as you can see over here. So over here, this is a high level analysis. The reason why we did this is because we want to see if she's into PDA or if she's conservative, right? If you want to really figure a girl out, this line is excellent to see what she's into. Now, pretty much what we do over here is we keep our frame. I won't go too deep into the texting, but it's just to show you that we keep the frame with the sexual energy as well, just so that, we have that clear incentive to have sex on the table. Now, moving to the next part of this girl's conversation. So this is where we start asking what she wants from the apps. As you can see over here, we ask her, what are you looking for? This is going to build interest and rapport, and it's going to create an opportunity to close her again after we miss the original one. Now, this is where I start telling what she wants to hear, about a long-term relationship, wanting a baddie long-term. As you can see over here, I'm just mirroring what she wants. I'm telling her what she wants to hear, and she loves it. This is what she wants. Now, pretty much this part of the conversation isn't really necessary, but it does help some niche girl knowledge. I pretty much did some live texting on this girl, if you haven't seen the last video, where pretty much I used ChatGPT to figure out what nails she has, As you can see, she thought that was incredible. I blew her brains away, and it was really straightforward. She thought they were, I just had knowledge that no other guy really should. Now, I just gave her a little bit of a compliment, a bit of validation, and this allowed me to move into the close. As you can see over here, I said, what's your number? And we got the number. Now, a lot of you thinking, Deni, you wasted a lot of time texting this girl. That is true, I did, and I'll be honest with you, it was a waste of time. But the benefits are when you text a girl this much on the actual apps, sometimes it does make the Tinder conversation really easy because she gave me no friction at all when I asked her a number. She just gave it straight away with a little bit of a kiss. Whereas some girls will say to you, oh, social media, I don't too soon, right? It can vary. So moving on to conversation number 4. This is one of the ones that I did in live texting as well, and it is quite a big one. This girl opens with a nice high interest opener at the start. This is from my Chad account, by the way, one of the Chads that I hoped you should check that video. It was pretty cool. Now, this girl says, you're the most beautiful man I've seen in my life. Please be my rave husband. High interest. This doesn't get any better. So this is pretty much has the same similarities as you can see as the top ones. We start talking about, just how can I refuse? She says some logistic stuffs about rave wifey, some niche knowledge. And as you can see over here, we just progress with that. Now this is where the conversation gets technical. The reason why we didn't close this girl so soon based on the fact that she's so high interest is because she's asking personal questions. She's asking things like, where are you from? She's so invested into it. We would be killing the flow of the conversation by cutting it short and going for her number. And because now it would literally just ruin building something better that would make the date and the whole process even easier. If we text her more on the apps in this scenario, it's going to make everything piss easy. Now I know this is breaking the rules that I taught you in this video and you're all thinking, Deni, what the fuck? You didn't say this. Well, sometimes you have to break outside of the norms and the rules and you have to break them to get a better outcome. Because what worked for one girl will not work for another. It won't work for this girl because she didn't have rave knowledge. This girl wasn't, looking for something long term. This girl wanted to move quickly. Every girl is so different and that's what makes texting hard. Now moving on to the next part of this conversation, we keep the conversation going with asking more questions, retaining her energy, adding some flirty comments here or there. As you can see over here, we start talking about whispering in her ear. We start telling her a bit more about her life. It's just mainly logistics at this point with flirting. I will let you guys read the conversation. You can zoom in if you wish, but I have broken this one down in real time on live texting in my last video. Now over here, this is where the conversation ascends. This girl is moving pretty much to ask for a rave date, as you can see over here. She wants something to come. She literally says, 30th of July, going solo, want to join me. This is her pretty much wanting to have something happen. She's setting it up. Now we're going to pretty much take advantage of that because we adapted to her pace. We mirrored her energy. She feels comfortable. She just needed a little bit of time and she was already giving us an opportunity to meet her for our guy, right? It's so easy. And from this point forward, all I have to do is use my niche rave knowledge and take advantage of the situation, asking questions back and forth. I don't know shit about raves, but guess what? ChatGPT is free. Max knows everything about raves because he's a little bit of a degenerate and did that garbage. And it's so easy to can just make these girls believe that you're into the same shit as her. And the conversation just continues, as you can see over here. I won't break it down too much because again, it's just logistics about raves, guys. I'm not gonna sit here and break that down because it's gonna be a boring video. Now over here, we pretty much built more than enough rapport, and this is where we go for a close. As you can see, she sends her Instagram herself, and then we ask for her number as well, and she sends her number. And this shows you how effective these tactics are. When girls are sending their social media themselves, that is how you know you've built more than enough fucking rapport. She wanted it to happen, and that's why it happened. Now let me show you how it's done in real time with live texting. So we have one of my accounts over here. As you can see, we have quite a few likes and matches with this guy that I'm currently working on his account for. Some decent looking girls. So with this girl, I said to her, I might have a mini crush on you, Sophie. A nice universal line to a girl that hasn't got too much going on. She's a bit of a gym girl. Maybe that's about it. I'd say she's just a universal girl with a bit of a niche into the gym. So we start off with something broad. She says, okay, appreciate why you're so far away. Here's what I'm going to say. I'm currently traveling. My location should be closer now. I'm now in Poland and need a tour guide. We're going to use the exotic appeal. Moving on to the next girl, Madja. She said to her the same thing again. Another universal girl that looks like a bit of a lover girl. Here's what we move on to. She says, let's see what we could do with that. Could turn into a bigger one after our date. And she says, oh, you say so. So here's what I'm going to say to this girl. Especially if you're going to be my tour guide. Once again, we're taking advantage of the exotic appeal and tell her that you're going to be showing us around. So with this girl over here, she messaged us showing high interest. As you can see, do you play volleyball? I said, I can play volleyball. Why? And she says, because I play also as well. She was a professional. And she says, really, you had to show me a thing or two. And she says, for example. So what we're going to do is we're going to send her a niche example of something professional volleyball players should know. We're going to talk about a tactic, sliding a flat hand under a falling ball. Again, I just got this off ChatGPT, by the way. And we're going to send that in. Boom. It's going to show niche knowledge. It's going to build our status and it's going to show that we're not lying, we're not LARPers. So with this girl, we use the same universal line because she comes off as universal girl, as you can see over here. And then pretty much she says that's a great start, working really well. And we say, can turn into a bigger one. Again, you get the point. She says definitely. And this one I'm going to say to her next. I think I'll need Oh my. I think I'll need help with getting my order right with restaurants because I'm new here and I keep messing up on what to get. So again, playing into the exotic appeal, moving on to the next girl, Natalia. So with this girl, we actually did something different. We said, you know what you remind me of? And she says, what is it? A bottle of rose. We didn't say alcohol, rose, because again, this girl is from Poland. So obviously it's going to be a little bit different. So we say that to her. She has never heard that before. Why do you seem like a rose? Because you'd give me a headache and I'll keep coming back. She's obviously enjoying the process so far. She loves it and it means that we just keep going with it. We tell her you can be our next addiction. She says I've been addictive. She's following into the frame very nicely. And then the next up, we say we'll have to see after our date. And then boom, she says, what would the date look like? So here's what I'm going to say to this Natalia girl. I'm going to say to her, well, I tried to pretend that I know my way around Warsaw, but then I would get lost and I need help since I'm new here. Again, playing into exotic appeal, take advantage of it. It's so fucking easy. Now this girl wants to know what the date would look like. You don't want to give her a literal answer, right? You don't want to tell her what it's actually going to look like. You're fucking autistic if you do it. Instead, you're going to say something flirty, something joking. Now this girl is talking about volleyball games. She says we can go together next week. Are you in Warsaw right now? I am indeed. So pretty much we're going to try and get a firm location set up with the date. She clearly loved the sliding hand tactic that I grabbed off of AI overview, by the way. Like I don't know shit about volleyball, but yeah, anyway, moving on. As you can see, so fucking easy, bro. Moving on to the next girl. So with this girl, we said, you know, we could upgrade your million pictures. She didn't reply, so we had to say her name again. She said, how we do that? You know, they're pretty amazing already. We're going to say by taking them again with my arm around you. She says not the worst idea. She doesn't want to give too much away because she's a bit conservative. And then obviously what we want to do is reassure and say we would look good together. And she says it's not only about looking good together as well. Of course, we would need to see if we click as well and sell the whole emotional dream. And she says, well, I agree. Glad we are on the same page. What are you looking for on Tinder? So I'm going to say long-term, hopefully, because she has long-term in her bio as well. Now this girl says, yeah, go regularly. I will send you later. Do you have Instagram? What I'm going to do here is I'm going to get my client to send his Instagram across to us and I'm going to send that to her as well. But you can see here, this is a successful close. Very straightforward. She wants to make the next move happen. Okay, with this girl. So we're going to reply to this girl real quick before we go into the next girl. I'm going to say to her, what about you? Because I want to figure out some logistics. So then we'll go into the next girl over here. She's asking, are you in Warsaw? Same line, same situation. She says, why many? Because I'm short. Applied to her really well because she is obviously quite a small looking girl. And then we says that might be a part of it, could turn into a bigger one. And she says, could be either in Warsaw. I am actually new here. And boom, on to the next girl. So with this girl, she's a little bit of a niche girl. We use something very creative. We said to her, we're going to steal your dog because she had her dog in one of the pictures. She says that's not a dog. Obviously, you know, sometimes you can make mistakes. Boohoo, didn't predict it or got it right. Then we said, why is she lying about her pets on Tinder? We played on it. She says, not really. I have a dog, but it's not the one from the picture. Then we'll have to say I'll steal him instead. And she says, you're not a good stealer though. We just met and you announced that you're going to steal my dog. I think he needs a dad. What about your dog? He'd get a new friend. Not sure if I'd rather pet you or the dog though. We're trying to get it to be more sexual, build the energy and rapport up. And boom, we say, you know, I had a good idea stealing my dog. She's obviously falling into the frame. I said, a good date you'd like. She wants to know what type of date is. We're going to talk about cocktails. And of course, this brings out the side that she is into drinking. She's less conservative. She's a bit more slutty, even though she doesn't look like it. But it is insinuated by still figuring it out. And then we go on from there. And she teases her with the spot. We try and bait her in. And we say to her, surprise. And she wants to know and find out what the intrigue and curiosity is. So this is what I'm going to say to her. That would make it boring. I have to be more of a gentleman and surprise my date now because I want to frame it as something conservative. Now that's some live text examples in real time of what you could do with girls when you identify their niche and their profiles and what to say to them. And you can take that knowledge and you can apply it to your own accounts so that you can get the results that I've been getting. Now, if you want to see me closing difficult girls that were more bitchy, then you should go and watch the last video because that video covers how to talk to girls that are actually so fucking difficult to talk to. So if you want results like this, like you've seen from all my guys that I've been working with and the account I've just been texting on, then you know where to find us. You know what to do. We can do your AI pictures for you. We can analyze everything for you and we can get things done the right way so that you can get results just like this, like I've shown in this video. And maybe, who knows, if the stars align, we can get you to maybe 10,000 likes as well, maybe 1,000 likes, whatever it may be. I appreciate you watching this video. Hopefully this has given you the value that you guys have been looking for, and I'll see you in the next banger.